We founded SMK a little less than a year ago, so I guess relatively we're kind of babies in the game. But from the get-go, we wanted to start out and create kind of a new model. As you know, the music business is forever changing with technology, so we wanted to start out and see, where we could put our name in the game. So my job on the day-to-day is everything from scheduling artists to come through, reaching out to artists. We have to continue to make music because everyone else out there is making music. So we have to continue to reach out to artists and make sure that we're connecting with the right people. And I also take care of events that we have coming up. We try to do monthly events to keep in touch with the community. And then on top of that, it's reaching out and thinking about new ideas. So I try to conceptualize new projects, conceptualize other avenues we can go down, and think of different revenue streams. So for my day-to-day, and then additional, looking to the future. So they do the music and I do everything else. I went to the University of Southern California. I was fortunate enough to spend 4 years in California, and I went to school for an entrepreneurship degree. I was in the business school and my focus was entrepreneurship. So what I basically wanted to do coming out of college and even going into college was start a business. I've started 5 businesses with partners. I have a hot sauce business. I'm starting a baby products company. And music. So I find different things that I like and try to basically find avenues where, maybe niches and being covered. But my background, I went out to school there and I moved back to Atlanta to kind of get my roots in business. So that's my background. It's the SMKA production started with 2 producers, 808 Blake and 7 King, who I went to high school with. So they actually approached me, and because I was starting businesses and doing stuff in Atlanta, and they actually asked me if we could start a business, I would manage it and they would do the music. So the first thing you do with a business is you look at your product. So what's our product? What do we have something unique? Is this something that we can sell in the streets? And really, what I like to do in a business is really kind of conceptualize and look at it from 10,000 feet and say, what are we selling? Who's our consumer? What are our revenue streams, and what can we do unique and different that other people aren't doing? There's so many thousands of people making music right now. What is going to separate us from the guy down the street and everyone else across the world that it has a home studio and is making music? What are we going to do to break in? Because I wasn't really interested in just being another production company. So and once SMK started, because I was convinced, they convinced me, not only being friends but as producers, that not only were they going to work hard, but that they were very talented. I mean, it was, I've been hearing their music, and really through the past year I've heard their growth, which has been the exciting part. Being around music every day, and I was a DJ out in California, so I've been around music my whole life, and I kind of have an idea of what I think could sell. But I was excited about the opportunity of building a production company in a unique light. So that's how we started, and that's how we got going from there. See, I think there's one thing I did learn in college was that there's no one path. There's no, I know different managers, and I really don't like to consider myself a manager, but more of a business partner. A manager is someone who does really just, actually I don't know, but I never like to consider myself a manager because I really do a lot of business and really kind of like the forward thinking, which may be what a manager does. But the qualifications of a manager is probably someone who is, you have to be personable. You have to be someone who's willing to go out there and talk to someone. If you go to an event that's a networking event and you sit there in the back corner and you're not talking to someone, that's going to be a problem. So you have to be personable. You have to be willing to work hard. You have to be willing to work harder than everyone else. And then really, I don't think there's a resume saying I'm good at Excel, or I've really never been a resume guy either. I love like the interactions with people. I love the interview process of getting to know someone and really feeling them out as a person, rather than I scored this on a test, or I've worked here, here, and here, because you really don't know what they did there. You don't know what it was. So I think really the main two things you need from a manager is someone who's personable and someone who's willing to grind and really believes in their product. As a manager, if you don't believe in your product, then you're not going to be managing it very well. Music business. So basically, I like to look at music business not really as music business, but as business itself. So what's the product? You know, who are your consumers? How are you going to reach them? And you know, basically, and then figure out profits and losses. But basically, so what's the product? CDs aren't selling anymore. That used to be the biggest product in the music business. CDs aren't selling anymore. People are digesting music a million miles an hour. These blogs you got to keep up with. So you have to look for additional revenue streams. So the music business is gone from let's put out a CD and try to sell 1 million copies, kind of like the movie industry, which is most of them bust. So I think like what 20%, maybe less than 20% of albums back in the day actually recouped, but the ones that did sold, you know, 20 million copies, not 5 million copies, 4 million copies. So nowadays you're not getting those home runs that you used to get, but you're getting a lot more failures. So the product in music isn't really CDs anymore. So I think everyone in the business is really trying to scramble and figure out, all right, we're not selling CDs. People aren't buying music. You know, music is a digital product. It's really free when you think about it. So, I mean, we didn't grow up with the internet, but think about the next generation of kids who grow up after Napster. I remember when Napster came out, I was still in 7th grade, but that changed my life. I went through and Googled every song, you know, Napstered every song I knew and downloaded it. At that point, music became free to me, and I really thought of it as not a product I would want to purchase, but something I would want. So music really can become an avenue for other products. So you can link up with sponsors. You can, you know, try to tie your music into companies that need to use it as advertising, because music is still an unbelievably consumed thing, but it's not consumed at a price. So you can try to tie your music into a company that needs to reach consumers. You can try to become a brand. So in addition to that, you need to use your music brand and try to go into other avenues. So, you know, touring's still big. You know, money from, I mean, you sell one ticket, that's a CD. You know, you think about it, $10 ticket is a CD, except you're not actually, the cost of that is zero. So, you know, make sure that you reach your audience doing, you know, tours. You know, make sure that you reach people out that way. And then, like I said, think outside the box. Like, get involved with corporate sponsors. Try to find them who can you reach, and the people you're reaching, who needs to reach them. Corporations have a hard time reaching their customers. Music is a very simple way to reach customers. So corporations need music. You know, if you think about it like that, and if you can develop a brand that a corporation needs, you've become a valuable, you know, a valuable asset. So that's one way I think the music industry is going. And additional, you know, it's tough to really, you know, break it down, but you know, there's people out there making a lot of deals. You can see, you know, on top of merchandise and touring and corporate sponsors. You know, we try to find a lot of different avenues. So it's linking up with other people. I mean, it's just you feel like I'm putting on the spot here, but I would say those three, and then you know, just basically try to find avenues. When things reach out to you, you know, that's part of the business. So you know what your product is music, but what can music reach, and who can use that music to make it a product, whether it's a corporation or something else. So try to do that. I like to see an artist's name, you know, out in the public. You know, artists reach out to us quite a bit, but it's hard for me to sift through. So if I haven't seen your name previous to being reached out to, I actually try to do and try to do a very good job of actually investigating artists, because, you know, talent is out there. I mean, there's a lot of undiscovered talent. So I actually try to at least research everyone that reaches out to us. You know, it's not always easy, but if it's someone who I've seen their name, they may have performed on a set I recognize, I've seen their tweets, you know, it's just, you know, I've seen their Facebook, they've invited us on Facebook, you know, I've seen them through MySpace. You know, it's something that you got to get yourself out there. You have to be your own promotional team. So an artist that we're looking to work with is someone who's already done the business. They've made noise. They're out there doing it, and really so it'd be a mutually beneficial relationship. You know, if they come in and we do a song, it's something where we both benefit, because it's going to reach, we're going to reach their core group of fans, and they're going to reach our core group of fans. So it's a win-win, as opposed to reaching out to, or somebody bringing someone in who may not have a fan base, and the production team does, where, well, we don't benefit nearly as much as they do. But you gotta, and we don't have a problem with that, because we started as no name, and people were fortunate enough to come in and work with us, and we were fortunate enough to have people come in and work with us. So I always try to remember where we came from, because less than a year ago we were like the article said, we came out of nowhere. I'm speaking about the Creative Loathing article, that after we released this mixtape of Atlanta artists, we literally came out of nowhere. So I try to stay in touch with the city and other artists around the city. I'm trying to read the blogs, I'm trying to keep up with who's doing what around the United States, and really we like to work with people who are down to grind. We like to work with artists who are really serious about music, not someone who just wants to jump on a track and then walk away, not do anything for the next 6 months. We want to see people who have projects out, who are looking to do additional projects, who either have management or are looking for management. Because an artist with a manager is as a two-headed, two-sided sword. You got a talent, and then someone's going to work for them, as opposed to someone who really is working for themselves. So all the above, all those things I mentioned, those are the type of artists we're really looking for. But really, just talented artists and people who are willing to work hard, because it's a combination of those two things that you need. Well, I mean, you bring up a good point. A lot of what's going on is, single deals, or an artist that'll be out for 1 second and really has not cultivated their talents yet, whether they have them or not. But, whether they're on the radio, which basically is a stamp of approval. And I'm really not on that side of the industry as much as maybe I should be, but don't really want to be. But there are people definitely shoving, for lack of a better word, trash down the throats of consumers. So we're not really looking to do that. We have had an opportunity to, go down that alley, try to focus on radio, try to focus on one big hit, but we are much more focused on creating a brand, making good music, because that's not a lasting, we're here to make a company and grow the company. If we were here to make a song, that's not you're not going to have a business around a song. You're not going to have the respect of consumers and really brands around a song. So we're trying to develop something sustainable, and that really is around the creation of a project. I think that concept of an album, even though it's not being bought, is still very much instilled in people, in terms of what was the feel of this album, or what was the concept y'all are going for here, as a cohesive unit for a project. So both producers we work with are very, very focused on making good music, and really experimental music. I mean, there's a huge niche of people out there that still want to hear music they have not heard before. This is not, that's some new stuff. I haven't heard that type of music before, as opposed to something you can bounce in the club, or that sounds like the exact same song on the radio, which is not really what we do, and we really don't try to listen to the radio that much. So yeah, B.O.B. is an amazing talent. Like, that's just the bottom line. There's not up and down the industry. He's co-signed by everyone. I mean, he's an amazing talent, and he actually, this is just kind of the small world story. One of the producers, Kyle King, actually just worked at Guitar Center. Man, B.O.B. is an unbelievably friendly guy. Just walks in. They start playing guitar together, so he'd come back in, start playing guitar together. Then B.O.B. wants to put, B.O.B.'s, like I said, he's an amazing talent, so he really wanted to do something unique in the music too. So he wanted to put the band together. Calls up Kyle, will you be my guitar player? And that was a big day for Kyle, and really exciting for him. Like I said, he basically tours with B.O.B. now. He's on tour with B.O.B. and just the music coming out of B.O.B. and his camp right now is just exciting to be able to hear that stuff, and really, whatever little part we have in it is exciting. It's just cool, and I think the sky's the limit for B.O.B. I mean, like you said, you're a fan, and everyone you talk to is just really excited about the ceiling. There really is no ceiling on that guy as far as crossover music, and just reaching different crowds. 'Cause I've been to a couple of shows, and you know the rock crowd loves him, and the hip hop crowd loves him, and you're just like, man, this guy's just he's got it all. Like, he's just an amazing talent, sings, plays guitar, keys, you know, raps, and is an amazing rapper, and it's just like, man, that guy's got it all. So, you know, being able to be around that guy and work with him is a real treat. The future of SMKA Productions, probably drop the productions and just become SMKA. You know, I think that we want to, you know, me and 808 Blake, we try to meet once a week and really kind of say, you know, what have we done this past week? What do we need to do this week? And really, you know, what's the next 6 months look like? We try to stay, you know, really in tune, communicate a lot. I mean, I'm with this guy 12 hours a day, so it's not hard to communicate. But you know, I really want to do something unique. I want to have a stamp on music. I want to get involved. I mean, I'm really excited about working with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. I'm really excited about working with a lot of artists we're doing. I'm excited about the projects we got coming on, and really just growing it and expanding it beyond music. So I'd love to get involved in tours and working and bringing in like different artists from different places that would not have worked together otherwise, and just coming up with some dream projects, releasing them, and really just growing our production company beyond music production, which maybe is what it's seen as right now, even though we do events, you know, we do other stuff. So really getting the community behind us and creating some, you know, creating kind of like we are in Atlanta, and I would love to be the home base of, you know, creative music in Atlanta. You know, just a lot of cities have this funnel, like they talk about in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and LA, where creative people come together and just, you know, build. You know, it's just working together to make art, music, you know, and they're really, I don't see that in Atlanta. I don't see that niche being fulfilled, and I think if we could have any part of that, you know, working with people to build something where just if you want to be creative, you want to make music, you know, you want to do that, we would love to be at the cornerstone of that. So really, that's one of our goals. In addition to doing some really cool stuff that I'm not going to talk about right now because it's still on paper. But you know, just growing. Like every day we look back at the week behind us and we said, you know, I think we're better off this week than we were last week. You know, or like I think we made a new connection here that's going to really help us out. So, like I said, we're about a year into this. So. We're still trying to get our, you know, still trying to figure out what exactly, you know, what is the future for SMK, and really, what's the future for music, you know? I mean, if you ask someone, we talked about that yesterday. It's like, you know, as much as we plan and figure out the future, we might have a curveball hit us tomorrow and say, hey guys, we really want you to do this, and you know, an opportunity that we cannot release. And that's really one of the beautiful things about the music industry is that there is always that going on. There's always, you know, opportunities out there, and really, you know, if you're out there and you're active and you're pursuing stuff, people are going to see that and they're going to reach out to you, and there are just so many opportunities, especially for someone like an entrepreneur who really loves, you know, I love to get involved in different stuff, and I can think, you know, outside of music into other different industries. So, you know, SMK, I see great things for us. The music we're doing is exciting, and also just kind of just doing it different. You know, I think that's one thing people are excited about working with us is that we're not just a production company. We're not just out here making music. We're really trying to do something unique. So, you know, I hope if I do an interview a year from now, it will be a really different interview, and we can tell people like all the crazy stuff we did this last year. Because looking back the past year, like I said, it's about to come up on our 1-year anniversary, and I'm excited, man, about the stuff we did in a year. Just kind of from day one forward, you know, got a couple projects under our belt, a couple music videos, made some amazing connections, got this wonderful gig with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra coming up, and you know, 5 projects coming up. So it's just staying busy, man, and I'm just super excited about the future. So that's the future of SMKA. Our goal is definitely not, I can say this, our goal is not to become a subsidiary or major label, or really to depend on a major label at all. I mean, as you can see, labels are not doing well, so it's not like, I think a lot of people are basically trying to squeeze every last penny out of a major label, because basically what major labels did was hold the keys to distribution, which is what you needed to do to sell CDs, which aren't really selling anymore anyway. Not to mention that you don't need, you know, where's Warehouse Music, where's Tower Records, like these places don't exist anymore. So places like iTunes and CD Baby are taking over. Like, I mean those in addition to everything else, and MP3s as far as selling music. And then you really need a good PR team, and that's a label. Like, you know, I mean, if you really wanted to figure out what a label was and define it, we are probably more like a label, because artist development, projects, EPing projects, releasing projects. I mean, we are a label, but I don't want to call ourselves a label. We don't have any signed artists, but we work with so many artists. So success for us would be, you know, I think, and this sounds kind of lame, but I mean, making a living and just creating some cool stuff. Like, I think that's our goal, and 808 Blake is like my best friend, so we are on the same page. And really, you got to be on the same page, because he's not saying, I want to make millions of dollars and I want to be, you know, that would be nice. So, but you know, we want to be recognized, you know, as people who are, you know, trendsetters, making good music, and really, like, I think also being realistic. Like, you know, it hurts me when I see an artist like, I want to get signed. You know, I want to get signed. Like, what do I do to get signed? Like, don't worry about that. Like, focus on your craft. Focus on, you know, getting out there by yourself, grinding. Like, everyone I know that's had a deal is not like their deal. So what does that say? You know, don't go into a business. And really, if you're an artist, that's a business. You are now your product. You are a product. And think of yourself as a business and say, what is my business? How am I going to make money? You know, if I do get signed, where's my money coming from then? And how am I going to feed my kids when I'm 50? You know, people are very short-sighted. So if you make a living till 30 and then you have nothing to do after that, you probably didn't succeed, because you still need to make money after you're 30 years old. So I think succeeding with us would be to continue to work when we're 60 on music, to continue to make good music, and to have some great music under our belt. You know, we want to continue to make what we consider good music. And really, I don't think we want to put a label on what a success is. It's not being with the industry. It's not being, and the industry serves its purpose. I mean, I don't want to knock the industry. I don't want to knock radio. It serves its purpose, and it has a role in the music industry. That role is changing, of course, but that's not our goal. Our goal is not that. You know, our goal is really just to focus on finding our own, finding our own revenue streams. You know, making it make sense for us, and that's kind of my role actually as a manager in this.